think it's okay. Everything's recording.
We're on.
Hello.
Hello.
Hello. Hello?
Hello.
Hi,
Is
you
that
guys.
from something? Oh, okay.
No, remember when, I don't know what episode that was. We're like, hello? And they're like, oh my God, you can finally hear me.
I don't remember that.
Oh, great. Okay, that always makes you feel good, when you're trying to reminisce with someone. They're like,
maybe
I have no
maybe
recollection.
I feel bad because my memory is failing
Don't
me.
feel bad. Don't feel bad. But hi, Madison.
Hi. So today is just what is today's episode? Like a catch up. I wrote it down, like whenever I write these episodes, I write down Cowboy Thoughts and then I just rattle it off. Actually, it's like collected thoughts for like a week.
I think that's a good way of putting it because we go like one whole week without talking to you guys. And then all of these things make it on our notes. And we're like, okay, we can't wait to share.
Yeah. And I'm like, is this good enough to talk about? Or is it just kind of like a fleeting, like, oh, which it's all of the above.
It's all the above. But you know what? Some of my favorite conversations that we go into are because we had a little thought. Mm-hmm. And then I share a little thought that I had and you elaborate on it and vice versa.
That's true. I feel like maybe like when I write my thoughts in my notes, it's in like a little incubation like center. And so then when I say them out loud, it flourishes into something else.
I am really appreciating, also this sweater just will not stay down, but I am really appreciating how you are going visual these days. Like making me visualize that incubation center.
Yeah.
I loved that.
I'm happy. Well, also hopefully it like helps other people because I feel like my thoughts are just like wind. Like it's like literal wind that's just like I catch them and I'm like, here we go, versus like an actual like solid thought.
Wait, what book is that? Is it Everything is Figure Outable? No,
I know what book you're talking about.
She's talking about how
it was Elizabeth Gilbert, wasn't it?
Yes,
like magic something.
Creative magic, something like that.
Yeah, it's something
where she's
magic.
Big Magic.
Yeah.
And she's talking about how thoughts and creative ideas are just like floating by, and then they can come and sit with you. And if you don't pay them any attention, then they're going to leave you and go to someone else.
Yeah, I honestly believe
something along those lines. Don't quote me because I'm sure I just think that's an hacked it up.
Yeah.
Anyways.
Okay, so really exciting news. Do you want to say?
Oh, I don't. Okay. Yeah.
Tess got engaged. Oh my God.
Did a limp ball just come off as I did that? Pretty cool, huh?
Everyone's like trying to zoom in on YouTube. It's so beautiful.
It's really pretty. Yeah.
She was engaged to on Friday the 12th. Yeah.
Yeah. Right?
Yeah. Because I remember recording that little snippet on the 11th and then 12th I was there.
Yeah.
Which is really cool. And it was done on our walk in a really beautiful area by the beach.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And then I've been asked like, oh, are you excited? Do you feel any different? And like the answer is yes, I'm excited, but no, I don't feel any different. And I feel like, I think it was you that said this and I couldn't relate more, is like when you hit a birthday, someone's like, oh, do you feel whatever, fill in the age?
Like someone's like, oh my God, do you feel 29? And I'm like,
no,
I think I feel like every age. Like I feel 29, but I also maybe feel like 41 and also 8,
yeah.
Like
it's
every
all
age.
in there.
Yeah.
And I think maybe the reason I don't really feel any different is because like nothing outside of me having a new piece of jewelry has changed. Mm-hmm. Like we were already in this. Like I told someone this morning that saw it, they were like, oh my, are you engaged? And I was like, yeah. I'm like, when? And I was like, Friday. And they're like, what?
They're like, that's a huge life thing.
Yeah. And I was like, that's the person who asked, do you feel different? And I was like, no, I mean, I honestly feel like we're already, I know that we're not married yet, but it's like it feels like that, like I'm sure it will be different.
Yeah, I think so.
I just can't imagine it feeling that different because we're already so intertwined and like we already look out for each other in all of the ways. So I can't imagine how I guess it could get better.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I have like a lot of thoughts on it. I think that it will feel different like when you're married, but I do understand what you mean by like it not feeling different than you're engaged, other than like the fact that you're wearing a ring on your finger. Mm-hmm. Like I feel like we knew that Phil was going to propose to you for so long and like it was in discussion like all the time that it feels like you kind of were already proposed to maybe.
Yeah.
And then so when it happened, you're like, oh, I've been waiting for this. And then it happened. And then, yeah.
Yeah.
But I
it's
feel
really exciting.
like, yeah, I was going to say, I was like, I don't want you, like, I still want you to be excited about it, even though it doesn't feel different. Like, I still want you to treat it as like this big life step that is really exciting and cool.
Yeah, I definitely feel that way. And something I wanted to bring up, I've noticed this a lot within myself, and I'm curious for you guys to answer this for yourselves too. But for you, Mad, when something really, I'd say monumental happens in life, or at least just something really exciting and big that happens in your life, do you feel like you kind of have to celebrate quietly? Like, do you feel the need to like, oh man, I don't want to fill in the words here, but rub it in on someone. I don't want to like be obnoxious about it. Like, okay, we get it. You're engaged. Do you ever feel that of like when something good happens, you should celebrate quietly?
Yeah, I do feel that way because I was like definitely raised with the belief that like being boastful is really disgusting. And I have seen that like as an adult, I like that belief has been confirmed to me that being boastful is not typically ideal in my opinion, but I don't think, and I don't even know if that's where you're going with it, but I feel like maybe it's easy to feel like you're bragging if something good is happening in your lives, but I don't necessarily think that is true. Like, especially if you go in with that intention or without that intention, which you would.
Well, and okay, so that was my thing here. And that's why I wanted to ask you is like, obviously I want to celebrate this in all of the ways, but I haven't posted about it on social media. I haven't like gone above and beyond of letting people know because I feel like it matters in my life so much, but it doesn't really affect other people. So like why sit around and like talk about it and flaunt it? And like, I just don't want to come across as boastful. And I've been like this in relation to like Mother's Day or celebrating my mom's birthday is because a lot of my close friends have lost their mothers. And so then I feel like this sense of guilt of like, oh, I shouldn't like be celebrating this because someone doesn't have theirs.
Yeah.
Even though I should be celebrating my mom in all of her ways because she's still with us. But beyond that, it's like, I know a lot of people like this can be a touchy subject for them. So then I don't want to be like, oh my God.
Yeah. But if you're genuinely concerned about that, I think that you shouldn't be, just because like if us as like a twosome, if you want to say, like we put out this podcast because we want to like make the world better in a way. I think that like you putting out that good energy of like, I'm so in love with this person and now we're engaged and like he proposed to me. Like, I'm so excited about this. I want to share it because there's enough bullshit being shared in the world anyway. And you're not adding to that. Like, you're adding good, in my opinion.
Yeah.
And I don't see how that's bad.
Yeah. I mean, obviously there's two sides of it for me. Is like one side of me just wants it to be like enjoyed in peace and quiet and just be relishing in our like private moment. The other side is like, this is so amazing that I found the person that I actually do want to spend my life with. And I want everyone to know about it.
Right.
There's both sides. And a part of the private side is not only do I just want to enjoy it in peace and quiet, but I also, I don't mind ruffling feathers, but I don't necessarily want to get into that with people. So I think that's just part of my whole, I know that it's gonna, I don't know. I'm just private with it right now.
Well, and I think it's also worth mentioning that you're just private with a lot of things. Like, it's not like we're posting every single day on Instagram, like all of life's unfoldings, you know? Yeah. So I think that it is only natural that you wouldn't be posting about this huge thing that's happened because you don't even post about the little things. Yeah. Not to say that you couldn't post about it just because, which you totally could if you wanted to, but I think honoring the feelings of like staying private is obviously great. Yeah. And then, like I said to you the other day, is that whoever you want to know and whoever needs to know knows. So like, there's really no use sharing it if you don't feel like you want to. Like, all the people who care, they know. I mean, that's actually not true because there's more people that would care that probably don't know. But if you listen to the podcast, now you know. Yeah.
Surprise.
So you can share it when you want and share it when you don't want. Doesn't really matter, and it doesn't make it any less special.
Yeah. Thanks for summing it up for me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I just been feeling like a little bit more private with a lot of things lately. So I guess this just makes sense. But it's not that I'm not excited or not that I'm not like so in love. I think I'm just riding that wave, like just cruising.
Yeah. And it's also, you could say that like sharing it or not sharing it doesn't mean you're any less in love, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Like it's just like a preference that people have. Like they feel the need to share shit and you're just like, go ahead, you can share that or don't.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Because it's social media and who fucking cares?
yeah, exactly. Exactly. And you know your reality, and again, your friends and family do, and that's good enough.
Yeah. And if I decide to share it or anything else that's really major in my life online, as you mentioned, if it comes from a place of like, I'm just happy and I'm doing my thing, then whatever happens as a result of that being shared online, that is what it is.
Mm-hmm.
You cannot control that shit. So if someone gets feelings of like, what? It's on them.
That is totally on them. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Which is such a freeing thought.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just thought that was something I was thinking about when I knew that we were going to obviously like I don't know if you guys can see it, but like it's not discreet.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, we have to talk about this.
Yeah.
And then I started thinking about like, well, why do I like to celebrate quietly with some things, at least until I'm like ready?
Yeah. I mean, there are even things that are, I mean, I guess like one could argue smaller or bigger, but whatever, smaller than like getting engaged. I don't share. Like if I could like relate it to my life, there are many things that I don't share just because I don't want to.
Yeah, exactly.
Or just like maybe the answer is not yet. I don't want to yet or never. I don't know. Also, another exciting thing is that we got the Half Dome permits. Hell
Let's
yeah.
go. So in August, we're going to hike Half Dome, which I'm excited about, but I'm also incredibly nervous about when it comes to the cable climb. I'm not nervous about the hike itself. I am petrified of heights these days. I don't know what's going on. When we were in Big Sur hiking, I started getting like really nervous, and it was high, but the trail was narrow, and there was obviously nothing to the side of me. It was just straight down, but like I knew I was safe. I know I can trust my feet, but in the moment I was like, I don't like this. And I started thinking, how are you going to do Half Dome if you can't even do this?
Dude, I'm fucking ready to go. I'll pump you up all the way up the mountain. I think like if you feel scared, that's how you're going to be able to do it, is because me and Phil will be like, all right, let's fucking go. We'll just like put you in between us, and Phil can go first or I can, and then someone will be behind you. So you feel like you're in between.
Thank you. I'm trying to get to the point where I don't feel that way come the day of hiking. You know, I want to feel just as ready as you guys are.
Yeah. And maybe you will, because that's in like a few months from now. But I mean, I think I'll feel some like feeling of like, oh my God. But for the most part, I'm like, I've been wanting to do this hike since I was literally like 7 years old. And now I'm fucking ready to go. Like there's a reason we got these permits this year, and I cannot wait. Like wearing a cute hiking outfit. Like I'm like excited to buy clothes for it. Like a fucking camelback, cute hiking shoes. Like I'm going to take we got to take pictures. We got to look good. Like we do. Like this is huge. This is like, when else are we going to do this? Like me, you, and Phil at this age. Like that's so special.
Yeah. I agree. I just love that you're coming at it from like a fashion perspective.
Dude, I am. I cannot wait. I was telling my dad, I was like, oh my God, I got to wear a cute outfit. And he was cracking up. And I was like, I'm serious. I want to look cute.
There is an element though of look good, feel good, do good, right?
Yeah. That is literally, I think about that every day.
So I don't blame you for wanting to look cute. Yeah. Also, you do take a lot of pride in how you show up in the world. So this doesn't surprise me that this event would be included in that.
Yeah, it is literally an event. Exactly. Yeah.
No, it'll be great. I know that's a really big thing too. And then another big thing that I'm really excited about, I know you are too, is our friend Bree, who has A27. It's like a marketing, branding agency, kind of social media management. She's coming on with us to kind of zhuzh up Cowboys, but in the sense that like she's giving us a lot of motivation. Like sometimes when you're doing anything creative, you can hit like a little bit of a lull where you know that there's things you want to do, you have a vision, but there's a little bit of a gap of like, fuck, I just need someone's energy to like pump me. Let's go.
Yes. And we just need that reminder. Yeah. Like that mirror.
Yeah. So we had a really great call with her last week and went over a lot of different little details. And her vision for us is like even more intricate in certain areas than we could have ever dreamed. And we're like, what? This is so awesome.
Yeah, like Tess and I during the phone call, we had me on speaker and we were just like staring into each other's eyes. Like me and Tess just like communicating without communicating. We're like, I can't believe that this is actually happening right now. Like Tess is tearing up. But just like to have someone that is so aligned with our brand and like gets the vision and believes in us, like, wow.
What?
That shit is enough to cry over, honestly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I put my phone on do not disturb, but my favorites can still get through. Would you look at that?
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just really grateful that people are interested in what we're doing enough to want to contribute time, energy, resources to this.
Yeah. Like so
Such a good
lucky.
feeling.
Yeah. It is. There's like a million things I could say about it.
Yeah.
I'm really great.
You know what else I'm grateful for?
It's just a whole episode. People are like, you're being really boastful right now.
We get it. Your life's
enough
great
sharing.
and you're grateful. Yeah. You know what? Just pull the mics.
No, sometimes you just need these reminders. Like you need to remind yourself of this so that you stay in like actually I'll touch on this after, but go ahead.
Okay. When I got home today, we both debriefed because like we were with each other this weekend, but not really. And we're both like, I don't know. I don't want to speak for you, but okay. This morning I like did a lot of energy output because I was teaching. I'm in a great mood, but I was just kind of noticing that I'm closing up a little bit. Like I don't want to share things. I don't want to go outside of my normal routine. I'm just like, And then what I'm grateful for is that we're able to have conversations that continue to pry me open and help me get to the root of stuff. Mm-hmm. Because if you're like me, sometimes it's just easier to be like, I don't know why I feel that way, but I feel it and I just don't even want to look at it. Like, I'm just going to sit in it. Okay. Just let me be. But Madison was like, can I ask why? And I'm like, fuck. Sure.
Dude,
you can ask why.
It was like a literal, like, this is another, like me trying to use a visual example, but I feel like every time I like ask why, I'm just like digging away at stuff. Like literally like a kid when they're like, well, why? Why is the sky blue? Which
is sometimes really annoying, right? But when you love someone so much, you are okay with it.
Yeah.
And I'm sure I've done this with you where you're like, honestly, I remember this. Do not ask me why one more time. Like, I'm not. Yeah. Like, you're really making me mad.
Yeah.
But you want to help your person kind of get unstuck. Mm-hmm. And what we were able to get to the root of, or so I think, is that I'm just not spending enough time doing the things that actually make me happy. So I feel like spread thin and I kind of want to just hold space for myself. And so I feel like I can't do anything outside of my normal.
Yeah, I would actually maybe rephrase and maybe want to agree with this. So I would say you're doing things to make you happy, but maybe not fulfilled.
Okay. That's a good way of putting it.
Yeah. Because I'm like, your life still has a lot of happiness. I just think like you need to like add more into your cup.
Okay. So I guess that's a way better way of wording it because I might have sounded like my life's miserable. Like my life is really awesome. But there are a lot of other ways that make me feel more fulfilled that I could be swapping things out for. I don't want to say adding, but like there's some stuff that I could totally get rid of and not do as a habit, and I could replace it with this. So I made a little list of things and hopefully they help you as much as they help me because I'm going to go back to these. So I wrote things I know I like right now because that can help you scale it back a lot, right? You might be like, oh fuck, I don't know. No, what do you know you like right now? Let's start there. So things I know I like are instrumental music, being in nature and sun, moving my body in flow, which is I love to dance. And I am really enjoying going to yoga with you. Being hands-on with things. So reworking my bedroom. I kind of like reorganized things when I got home from a trip and laid out like little shells and stuff that I picked up on the beach, repotting plants that I got, things like that. Going to nurseries, like being around plants and like getting ideas and thinking about how I can decorate my house and the compound. Be great.
That's right.
And then getting yummy drinks and food out and about, like stopping somewhere new and trying something different, and walks. Those are things I know I like. And so when I feel like I'm off, I can pull from this list and go, which one of these, if any, do I want to go do right now so that I can come back to myself?
Yeah, it's actually like so good that you brought that up for a lot of reasons, because I can go off, which I will, but something I was writing down because I really like love alliteration. And when we were talking in the car the other day to Phil of like why we picked the Conscious Cowboys, because it's like Conscious Cowboys, like we like that. So like I always try to like pair things, like it'll just come into my head, and I was like, oh, cowboy cures, like these are cowboy cures is like really cute, and like those are cowboy cures.
Yes.
Like walks, being in nature, hiking, good food, healthy body. So very great. Okay.
Yeah.
And so where do I want to go with this first is that so yesterday, okay. So we started talking when Tess got home after class today, because I was telling her, we were talking about our day yesterday. And I was telling her that like yesterday was like a boring day. And one thing I will say about that, there was like this thing that went on Tumblr like years ago that was like, well, if you're having a boring day, you're actually boring. And I'm like, maybe I am sometimes. Maybe I do boring things sometimes. I think that's fair to say that everyone does boring things, but I'm not a boring person. Anyways, I made peace with that yesterday. And so anyway, yesterday was like just like a boring kind of day. Like I still did like really great things. Like I went to yoga, went to like the health food store by our house, and went for a walk, journaled, read, like tanned, like awesome. But I think like in my head, I was maybe wanting something different that day. So then like, even though I did all those great things, like they were still boring to me. Like it was just like, So then I was telling Tess that I had like, whenever I have some of those days like boring, that I go inward and I'm like, all right, let's clean house. So then we started this conversation. I kept asking her like, well, why do you feel this way? And so I was writing down in my journal yesterday, like kind of similar to what you wrote of like, oh, what makes me feel good? Like walks, hiking. And in my journal, like a theme recently has been like, what can I, which I think I said this on the last podcast or maybe the one before, like what needs to die, what needs to live. So like one of the main things right now for me is like what needs to die is my self-doubt and like harsh criticism on many things like within myself, but also like my appearance. Like that is always something that drags me down. So then like if I let that die, then like what has to live? And so I was like, okay, what is like the other side of that coin? And for me, then it's compassion, like self-compassion. So I was like, okay, so if I'm trying to like repattern these thoughts in my head or in my brain, like how can I do that? And maybe this is common sense, but I was like, this is all coming together for me yesterday, like in my journal. I was like, if I'm trying to repattern this thought, like I need to replace it with something that's good so that it is like a reward system, like in my brain. So it's like when I'm thinking of this negative thought, I'm like, oh, this doesn't feel good. Like, okay, let's switch it up and add like more self-compassionate thought, like, or maybe take a bath, like do something that like will make you feel good in that moment, so that instead of like feeling those negative feelings, you start to repattern and feel like the positive side of that. So then like, I'm like, oh wait, now that I'm replacing it with this positive thought, like this positive thought feels so much better. Let's just start with this positive thought. So then the harsh negative criticism bullshit is done with. Like then I don't start with those negative thoughts anymore. I start with the more self-compassionate thoughts.
Or if the negative ones come up, then it's a quicker path to the positive one, right? Because it's not always going to be perfect where it's like, oh, I actually don't even have those thoughts anymore.
No. And then I also like can say that sometimes I think that those thoughts are very helpful, like if they're quote unquote negative, because then it helps me explore other things within myself. Like I'm like, well, why am I thinking that negative thought? Like I ask you a lot of why questions. I ask me like 1,000 why questions a day.
Yeah. But I also think it's helpful beyond you diving into yourself further. I think it's helpful just in our world if you can relate to a thought and then show someone the way of getting out of the thought.
Yes. Yeah, for sure. So then I was thinking, I was like, well, those boring days like have a lot of substance, like for me, because it's like chosen solitude in a way, which is like where I get to do the work that needs to be done. Like literally on a soul level, I feel.
Well, I would like to say that you are making very good use of your time.
Yeah.
And there's a good majority out there that would not spend a solo Sunday doing cleaning house on the insides.
Yeah.
So
right.
good work.
Thank you.
You're not choosing an easy path, but obviously it's one that's worth it.
Yeah.
Because you're pretty wise and developed. So at least I think.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Great. That's
in my
good.
book.
Yeah. No, I like that. I want to be known as that.
I think you're on
and developed.
a good path.
I love it. Okay. Let's see what else I had on my list.
A whole lot, honestly, right? Or no?
Yeah. I mean, kind of. Another thing that, which I don't even know, I guess we could go into this and maybe we won't. Maybe it's just like a thought, is that like the thought that I had on like contrast the other day. So I was thinking about this when I was dog sitting, and because let's just start from the beginning, is I was thinking about this because Phil, Tess's fiance.
That's still incredibly
Dude,
weird
I love
to hear.
it. I know,
but we have to enjoy it
for as long
for
as it
undisclosed
lasts.
reasons.
Yeah, exactly. Because you're not going to be a fiance forever. So it's like fun
Correct.
to say, like, why not?
Yeah.
So Tess's fiance, Phil. I just say
One
like
more
500
time
more
for fun.
times. It's just like his contact name is now Tess's fiance. I'm kidding. It will still be Phil.
Fiance Phil.
Yeah,
Cute.
dude. Everything's alliteration. But
with
then it's
an
like
F,
it's my
with
fiance.
a P.
Yeah, maybe not. You can put it as fiance Phil in your phone, maybe. Fiance Philip, dude, that shit's funny. So he called me when I was dog sitting, and we were trying to plan out the engagement. And he was like, "Oh, what do you think about this?" You know. And so I got off the phone with him, and I was sitting there, and I was just like, I am so incredibly happy, like, for Tess and Phil, and like there's so much greatness and like sweetness in this time in life in general, including your guys' engagement. And then I was thinking like how incredibly happy I am with so many things in my life, but then there's also so much where I'm just like, could be better, or like, God, I really don't want that anymore. Like, I want more. I want this. And I was like, it's so interesting to like live with that contrast of like, it could be anything, but for me, being so grateful and like happy and content to not quite good enough yet. Like, I need more. And so then I was thinking about, like, I kept like developing over the last couple of weeks, and I was like, it's kind of reminds me of like I could connect like an abundance mindset with like lack. So then like when I'm like abundance being like grateful in the moment, like I'm so happy, and then like I enter like that lacking mindset of like, oh, things aren't enough, like I need more, I want this to be perfect, I want that. And so I feel like I'm learning, which I think our life is about this anyway, is like learning to like bounce between the two. So yeah, those are my thoughts. These are just like thoughts that I write in my notes where I'm like, can this be developed, or like, am I needing to figure something out here?
Both.
Yes. No, it's all of the above,
right?
for sure.
But I think it's very relatable to hear that you can be independently happy for someone or something, yet still have areas in your life that are not quite fulfilled, right? And I think that it's not only like I can be happy for someone else who's getting something that I want, but I still want that for myself, and like, where is it? It's not always that. Sometimes it's like, I'm so fulfilled in this one area of my life, but in this other area,
Yeah. Yes. It's all of that.
Right.
Honestly.
So it's being able to just enjoy what you have that's good and work on the things that you want different.
Yeah. And then if I am trying to live more in like the abundance mindset, then I can combine like my gratitude and like being happy with so many things in my life. I'm like, how can I phrase this? Like, I combine the gratitude with, I know like what I want is coming. So then it like keeps that abundance momentum going. Like, if I'm abundant in so many other areas, who's to say that I won't be in the things that I want?
Well, of course. But it's just hard. Like, I love that your brain goes there of like, I know that my momentum is going forward, and it's only a matter of time.
Yeah.
But then on a lower moment, you can't help but go, ugh, but where is it? When is it?
Oh, yeah, of course.
But then you have to pull back and go, but I know all the good things are coming my way when they're meant for me.
Yeah. Just like those little reminders. Yeah, for sure.
But it's easier said than done.
Yeah,
At
of
least,
course.
I'm like, ooh, so many things that I have now that I wanted so badly a few years ago, where I had so many moments of frustration. Like you have to remind yourself of, oh, okay, this is what you were wanting. You're there now. And now there's other things that you're going to go after. So it's a constant growth thing that we're going for. But you have to slow down and just take inventory of what you have now that you once wanted to remind you of, okay, I can still achieve the things that I want or receive, at least. Not even achieve, but sometimes it's just receiving.
Yeah. And also, like using what you have that you admire and you like in your life as evidence towards like what you'll receive in the future. Yeah, for sure.
Okay. I have one more thing on my notes that we can touch on. And if you have any more, great. Things that I'm looking forward to.
Okay.
Because like I mentioned, me 2 hours ago, before a shower and before a deep life chat with Madison, she was questionable, but we're doing way better now.
That's good.
Okay. So I wrote down things that I know I'm looking forward to, right? Not just things I know I like.
Okay.
Things I am looking forward to: warmer, slower days. Hiking Half Dome and our trip to Yosemite. Getting married to Philip.
Of
course. Spending more time with my loved ones, like driving home and making like weekend trips for them.
Oh, okay.
And then the last one, but not least, feeling strong in my body through continued practice of movement and nourishing myself well. Because it's a practice, let me tell you.
Yeah, for sure. And you get knocked off the track sometimes, but then you can get right back on.
Yes, you do.
Yeah. Those are good.
Thanks.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel like I was going to rattle off like what mine are, but I feel like I'm going to go in a different direction.
Okay.
Is just continuing off like my thoughts that I had on my notes is I've been thinking, well, okay, so Brogan sent this to me on Instagram the other day when you said that you can't wait for like slow sunny days. She was like, this is where you are in your life right now. And it was like this little like dog and it had like some like music around, like it was playing like some flute music or whatever. And it was like, actually everything's okay, or like life is great and I'm not in a rush. It was like something like that. And I was like, yeah, that literally is me. Like from going a million miles an hour to like, all right, we got to like slow the shit down. I know I said this on the podcast, but like a few episodes ago, but yes, the slow days and summer days, I literally cannot wait. And like to read new books, like I'm so fucking excited. Something else that I was writing the other day in my notes is that like we were talking about devotion and discipline like a few episodes ago. And I was like, a lot of like discipline is like, I need to do this. Like I was like, okay, let me just try to refine like my thoughts on devotion and discipline, or versus discipline, however you want to phrase it. Is that discipline is like, I need to do this in order to achieve whatever. Devotion, I feel like is I do this because I love myself. And so that like, I'm doing this because I love myself, like having to say those words, like at least like once a day, or that sentence is like very helpful for me. And I was like, I want to share that because I feel like it could be helpful for other people. And it also helps you check in with like, okay, is this behavior because I love myself right now? Or is it because I think I need to do this, or because I don't like myself? Like, what is this? So yeah,
that's very helpful. Yeah. Awesome. Write that on the mirror above your every morning.
I don't. It's fucking ingrained in my brain now.
Well, great.
Yeah.
I love that. Okay. That's all for me. How about for you?
Yeah, I feel good about it.
Yeah. Okay. Well, thanks you guys for showing up and listening this week. We are so appreciative. Thanks to Bree for wanting to join us on this Cowboy Brigade.
So excited.
Yeah.
I could cry.
I know.
Yeah.
Thanks, Madison, for sharing your thoughts.
Yeah. Thanks for sharing your thoughts also.
Philip, thanks for asking me to
Yeah,
marry you.
congratulations, everyone. Hit up Tess.
Hit up Philip.
Sure. All of them, both.
Okay, that's all. Love you.
Talk soon.
Bye.